Hey y'all, it's been a long time. I consciously I decided to take a break from being so, I guess, visible and honest and transparent about what's going on with me online and on Facebook primarily. And yeah, it's been a few seasons since I've been making videos and sharing my journey with you, and I wanted to it felt right today as I'm making my way after this whole year and a half of this COVID thing. And I wonder what you've been experiencing. It's been a year of a lot of change for myself, and it's feels like an opportunity for a lot of possibilities have opened up for me. So if you've been kind of following my journey, and we've been friends for a while, and you kind of know my passion, you know that getting myself to a place where I'm trained to teach people Vedic meditation, which I've been doing for about more than 10 years now, twice daily, and I've been doing my prerequisite studies for my teacher training, which there's many, and I'm almost complete with them. And you probably know, like 4 or 5 years ago, I was making a push to go for it, but it didn't make sense based on where I was at, financially, and kind of where my life was at. So today I'm driving south to a meditation retreat, an advanced Vedic meditation retreat, with one of the gentlemen that's a friend of mine who's a teacher himself, and who will be assisting on my teacher training if it all goes green light. And again, it'll be just like I had hoped. It's going to be in India, in Rishikesh, kind of at the center of where this tradition has been taught for a long time. So my mama made her transition in June of last year, and you may have already known that, but I didn't publicly announce it. And yeah, that's been, I think the last time I was being kind of vocal or sharing much about myself online was when my dad made his transition in 2017. So yeah, after a couple years of looking after her, because she was kind of getting a bit unstable and had no business really driving, because she had a stroke and lost her license, and she had tested and retested and failed, and she retested and I drove her to this appointment, and I just crossing my fingers she wouldn't get her license back, and she did. And yeah, her karma, her fate was to get in a car accident. Nobody else was injured, but she incurred some pretty fatal wounds, a broken spine that would have had her in like a 20-hour surgery, and she was on a ventilator. So my sister and I had to make a decision last year in June 8 and 9, and we decided to take her off the ventilator, and she made her transition within about 15 minutes of that. And I'm feeling a bit of joy, because finally we've decided to plan a memorial, a wake for her. We're going to be celebrating her life on the 10th, coming up here, June 10th. And so I'm working with my sister Heather on planning that. That feels really good. One of the things I got to do with my mom in the last few years before she made her transition is she knew what she wanted, and she wanted her ashes spread underneath a redwood tree up in this forest preserve up in Point Arena in Northern California. And this is when she didn't have her license, and she recruited me to drive her up there, and I gladly took a trip with her, spent several days. It's one of my last road trips with Mom. I had one other road trip, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But road tripped up there and spent a few days up in the Little River, and she was so funny. She had a boyfriend her last couple year and a half. That at first when it happened, it was the hardest thing you can imagine when you're within 2 or 3 years of your father dying, and your mom, your 80-year-old mom is dating again. It was a bit of an adjustment, but anyhow, I got over the kind of shock of it, and her boyfriend lived up in that area, so she was kind of trying to rendezvous with him while we were up there, and she did. I dropped her off and picked her up later. It was, talk about new experiences. It was really sweet, and the beautiful, the joyous experience that I had is I got a chance to be with her when she picked out the tree that she wanted to purchase for her ashes and my father's ashes. So that's the ceremony that I've yet to have, and so I'm going to kind of have a chance to have my own private memorial up there in the Redwoods up in Point Arena sometime in the next year or two, maybe this year, I'm not sure. So I'm excited that after about a decade now of wanting to get trained to teach this meditation technique to people, that it's looking like it's going to be happening, and I wanted to share that with you, and maybe I'll be more frequent in sharing my journey with you. I know it's going to be quite a surrender in terms of the training is almost a month long, and it's all in one place in Rishikesh with a group of people from all over the world. And I have several friends that are trained. Actually, the friend whose retreat I'm going to today, he's been teaching this meditation practice in this tradition for almost a decade or more. And anyhow, a lot of friends that have been through it, and it's pretty rigorous. And we're super excited, to say the least, about the opportunity to do this, so I can share this with more people and start holding courses and letting people get a chance to get a opportunity to learn this technique, which has been so. I mean, it just refined my life in so many ways, and I'd love to chat with you about that if you're interested. But it's one of the most easy to practice meditation techniques out there. It doesn't require anything, no technology, no apps, no special place to sit. It doesn't have to be quiet. You just got to be sitting, comfortably somewhere where you're not going to be interrupted by somebody, and you feel safe. I meditate in my car a lot, and it's just a simple, effortless technique. It takes some instruction. The reason that there's a 4-day course in it, is because we're so kind of programmed to try and to do and to accomplish and to do things right. And this technique requires kind of learning how to let go of your mind's and your ego's kind of intention to be perfect and get it right and have a result. It's a really very non-outcome orientated way of meditating, and in that regard, it's so good for the body and the mind, because we surrender to nature, and we allow